termination, which would mean you're doing less,
Okay.
or the full sentence.
The
That'll be
full 5 years for a plastic butter knife with the razor on the end. That's, I mean, I've seen
can I be
worse.
blunt? Can I just be blunt with you?
Sure.
You shouldn't have done it. You were convicted of it. That's
I
where
shouldn't have
it
made.
starts,
I
and that's where it
shouldn't have made a
stops.
cooler. I shouldn't have made a cooler out of
No, you're
styrofoam.
not supposed to. It's against housing rules.
I'm sorry for being resourceful.
Don't apologize for being
Isn't that-
resourceful. Apologize
Isn't
for
that what
not
they
following
teach?
the rules.
That's what they teach you in Cub Scouts, right? That's how I was raised, to be resourceful.
You're in prison, not in Cub Scouts, sir.
Oh, well, I think that's 10 points for parole interviewer out of Utah. I didn't see that mic drop coming. Woo. This is prison, not Cub Scouts. We're about to watch the parole hearing of a man who's is serving 5-year sentence for assault. I'll share the results with you at the end.
Well, I'm just going to cut to the chase, Mr. Hayes. Do you want to do parole or do you want an expiration?
Well, would the expiration be earlier than November 2026?
No, that would be a termination.
That would be a termination. So, like if I chose the expiration, where would that put me?
11/24 of 2026.
So termination and the expiration be the same?
No, termination would be dependent upon the board. From what I read in the past, you'd said that you didn't want to do parole, that you would expirate instead. So you didn't participate in the psychological assessment. You've been pretty not helpful in the prior hearings. So I'm just wondering what you want to do.
Well, 15 months ago, I told him I would do parole
Okay.
and I would follow the rules and regulations and all that. And that was on my expiration date for my original charge. So
Mhm.
I did the 5 years. And then in hopes of getting parole, they put me 15 more months out, which
Mhm.
puts me here today. I was under the impression that if I asked for a termination, I guess it would be up to the board to determine anywhere from now until my expiration,
Mhm.
I'd be able to get out, but
Well, it was just a basic question. If you want to do, you don't want to do parole, but you're looking for a termination, I'll put that to the board to see what their decision would be. It was my understanding that you didn't want to do parole and that you were forcing the board's hand to give you a termination by asking for an expiration date. That was my understanding. Am I wrong?
well, I wasn't forcing them. I asked for one because once I got my results from the last board 15 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
I guess we have 30 days for, I guess, like a rebuttal or to ask them, why they decided the way they decided. And I did that. Within 5 days of finding out, they put me out until today. I
Mm-hmm.
wrote them back and I was like, okay, I asked for probation, but they didn't give it to me. So I asked them to terminate me.
Okay.
And I just didn't hear anything back from them. I just been here for 15.
To my knowledge, there's no such thing as a 30-day rebuttal. Maybe that's for the court, but that doesn't fall for the board.
Okay.
I don't understand what you're saying. Basically, what happens in a pre-sentence report, we use pretty heavily as far as preparing for our hearings. I went through pretty strenuously and looked at your past PSRs, refusals to participate. I did see that you did participate in one PSR, but you just recently refused a mental health assessment. So it kind of tells me that you're not necessarily really wanting to participate. So tell me I'm wrong.
Well, I refused the psych eval because I had already given one. I gave him one the last time I went to the board.
Yeah, 15 months ago, we wanted a
And
new one.
nothing's changed.
Well, you could have said that instead of refusing.
So that's what I told the site guy. I was like, nothing's changed. All the
Okay,
questions, they're all the same, right? That's why I
so,
refused.
so that doesn't look really good for the board. It just shows that you're another thing that you're unwilling to work with. Why are you gonna work on parole if you can't even do a simple psych well?
Well, if I was on parole, I'd be out. I'd be able to work, help my family out.
Mhm.
You know, I can't do that sitting in here for 15 months.
You're really fixated on the 15 months, it seems like.
Well, I kind of am because I should have been expirated.
No, you shouldn't have been expirated. Your expiration date's not till 2026. And as far as a termination goes, that's based off of a guideline, and a guideline's only a recommendation. That's nothing that the board has to follow. And if you're not being cooperative, they're not gonna follow it.
Yeah. I guess, I mean,
That makes sense?
yeah, I mean,
So my question to you is now, are you gonna be cooperative and follow the terms of a parole? Are you gonna even want a parole?
well, I'm afraid to ask for parole because last time they put me out for 15 months because they decided not to give it to me.
Well, because you weren't being.
And now,
You weren't being.
and now if I ask for termination, you're saying you're gonna put me out until my expiration anyway.
Not what I said, that's what you want to hear. That's not what I said. I asked you specifically, do
Just
you want, do
terminate,
you want a parole or would you like an expiration? Because you
Just-
made it
just
clear that you want a
terminate.
termination, that's fine. I will put it
Termination.
down, if that's what you're asking for.
yes, termination.
Okay. Okay. So I put decided that he wants a termination and not an expiration. And so I'll make sure that the board gets that.
Okay.
Where are you gonna live if you get terminated?
I'll be with my parents, same address, everything that's there. It's, nothing's changed. It's all the same. Still have the same job waiting for me when I get out, same address.
So
Everything's the same.
you're not really big on repeating anything, are you?
What do you mean?
I mean, I asked you where you're gonna be living. You said your parents, then you went on to say nothing's changed, it's all the same. I wasn't involved in your prior hearing. I looked through the notes. I didn't see what the other hearing officer or board member had said as far as an address goes. So there's gonna be questions that I'm gonna ask. They're gonna be repetitive. So just if you'd like to answer my questions, that would be great. And then
Okay.
we can get this hearing done and you can move on with your day.
Okay. Sounds good.
Perfect. You're gonna live with your parents. What kind of job was it that you're gonna do again?
It'll be roofing.
Is that with family?
Yeah, it's with my brother-in-law.
Good. That would be a good job. Do you have any aftercare set up for mental health or substance use or,
No.
okay. So you have a substantial amount of disciplinaries. Why is that?
I really don't know. I stay in my cell. I mind my own business. I don't bother anybody,
Mhm.
but the COs bring me the trouble, I guess. Are you talking about the UAs?
Sure.
Yeah, I refuse the UAs.
Well, that's
I
problem.
just, yeah, I'm not dirty. I just don't want to have another guy staring at me while I'm trying to do my business in a cup.
Well, I don't think it's very pleasant for them either.
Well, I can't speak for them, but
Yeah,
I know how I feel about it.
okay. So how's your mental health doing right now?
Pretty good, the same.
You said that you were diagnosed with bipolar disorder in 2005, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that was pretty painless. You've answered all my questions and I appreciate your patience with me. Do you have any questions for me?
No, it's
Okay, what will
Okay.
happen? What will happen next is I'll get my report and recommendation to the board by the end of this week. Now, I'm a hearing officer and the board's not bound by my recommendation, but they do take it under advisement. The board's a 5-person panel and it's a majority rule. So when 3 board members are in agreement, that will be their decision. And you can expect to get that decision in writing in the next 4 to 5 weeks.
okay. I do have a question. I just thought of one.
Sure.
Okay, so this 0 to 5 that I'm on, it was ran concurrent with my original charge, which was aggravated assault. That's the one I expirated last March.
Okay.
So I'm here for items prohibited in a correctional facility, mental health center, whatever.
Mhm.
Okay, so it was a plastic butter knife that with a razor blade taped to the end that I used to cut styrofoam to make a cooler to keep my drinks cold.
Mhm.
They call it a prison shank, which
They
I've seen prison shanks. I've seen the damage they've done. I've read paperwork on them.
Mhm.
And I got this flimsy little butter knife. That's why
With the razor blade that's attached to it from items that shouldn't have, that are contraband from items that shouldn't have been taken apart.
yes.
That can be used as a weapon, referred to as a slicer, and it's something that you're not supposed to have, and they charged you for it and you were found guilty in court.
Yes.
If you have an issue with that, then take it back to court.
Okay. No, I was just like, can I get to my question?
Yeah, please.
Okay. My question is, isn't there some kind of like a guideline they have to go off of?
You were sentenced to a 0 to 5, which
Yeah.
expires
I've
you
already
on
put-
11/24 of 2026. That means a guideline is a recommendation and that's all it is. The board could keep you incarcerated up until your expiration date. I'm not saying that's what they're gonna do, but theoretically, that's what we're looking at. So a guideline doesn't, it's like, hey, this is kind of, where we think it should be. The board's gonna be like, okay, well, we agree with that, or no, we don't, we're gonna change that.
Okay. So as of today, I've got 2.5 years
Mm-hmm,
on that 0 to 5.
mm-hmm.
I mean, that's quite a long time for a butter knife. That's what I'm saying. Is
I
there
don't know
some
what to
kind of a
tell you.
guideline? I mean, it's not like I have enemies.
There's no butter knife guideline, that's what
That's
you're.
what I'm-
That's
That's,
what
yeah,
you were
that's,
convicted of in court, and that's how you're gonna be managed by the board.
yeah, I owned up to it. I
Right,
took
and you're doing
responsibility.
your time for it.
Yes, 2.5 years on it. It's, a 0 to 5.
And you've got two and
Just
a half
make-
years to go, whether that's on parole or with the termination, which would mean you're doing less,
Okay.
or the full sentence.
The
That'll be,
full 5 years for a plastic butter knife with the razor on the end, I mean, I've seen
can I be
worse.
blunt? Can I just be blunt with you?
Sure.
You shouldn't have done it. You were convicted of it. That's
know I
where,
sh- I
that's
shouldn't
where
have
it
made-
starts.
I
and that's where it
shouldn't have made a
stops.
cooler. I shouldn't have made a cooler out of
No, you're
styrofoam.
not supposed to. It's against housing rules.
I'm sorry for being resourceful.
Don't apologize for being
Isn't that-
resourceful. Apologize
Isn't
for
that what
not
they
following
teach?
the rules.
That's what they teach in Cub Scouts, right? That's how I was raised, to be resourceful.
You're in prison, not in Cub Scouts, sir. This responsibility is yours and nobody else's. You say
Yeah,
you're
no.
taking responsibility, then take responsibility.
I have 2.5 years so far.
And you've got 2.5 more years to go.
Well, we'll see.
Okay, that's fine. There's nothing else. We'll go ahead and conclude. Yep, same to you.
Have a great day.
You too, sir.
Well, I don't think it takes that much of an IQ to guess that he's serving his full time. So I don't really know what it was he was saying and that didn't want the parole. I did, but what he did do was he apparently pressed the wrong buttons on this parole interviewer. And look, I don't blame him. This was, they have long days. These parole interviews, they start at like 8 a.m. and they go until 6 p.m. and it's interview after interview after interview, and it is long. And this hearing took place near the end of the day at 3:40 p.m. So he had a few more hours to go, and he was just done. I mean, the guy's like, who's like, what, a butter knife with a razor attached to the end of it? I'm gonna get 5 years. It was I like seeing the humanity in the parole interviewer, frankly. And he's like, can I just be blunt with you? Oh, I don't know why I think this is now. He's in the all whites, the inmate, and he's it's like under the medical ward, kind of like it's, I guess, the mental ward of the prison. So I don't know how they define what would get you in there versus somewhere else. But hey, he didn't. Hey, I guess give him credit. He's got a nice beard. But there you have it. Thank you, Richard, for lining everything up. And please do subscribe. Help the channel get to 100,000 subscribers. And with that, I'll let you